Tom, I'm actually switching to Dutch accent here. Tom is also gonna contribute to this little presentation. We work together on some ideas. So I'm gonna give you a little flavor of the Sunday Assembly Utrecht. Like what is that like? Give you a little feel. I've got lots of pictures lined up, and Tom and I are going to speak about intentional living, which is something we've been working on for a while now. Cue. Yeah. So
I'll just give you this. Just click on it.
yeah, that's good.
Just don't drag your finger around because it will do weird stuff.
Super mouse. So this is a little picture to guess. Guess who am I? That's me. What's that? You guessed it right. Okay, you get a Dutch candy after the.
Salted licorice?
No. I do like it, but it's even better. Yeah, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself so you know who is speaking to you. Yeah, this is my family, so now you know kind of me. I have a university degree in earth sciences and in hydrology. After the university, I started working as a consultant in hydrology, and I was also enrolled in a personal leadership program. So that's where I get part of my inspiration from, and also my passion for personal development. But then I realized that actually what I want to do is not sit behind a computer for 40 hours a day. So I decided to quit my job. And thinking back on it, that's actually the first thing I did, like for intentional living. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, what else? Let's see. Oh yeah, this is my home. A backpack. I'm traveling around currently. Usually I'm in a hostel somewhere. And yeah, I like picking flowers, I realized, because they're really colorful. And if you look around, you'll discover more and more flowers. And I also realized that I really like the place where I live is really important for me, for how I feel. So I decided to pick flowers and then attach them to my bedpost at the bunk in the hostel to make it feel a little bit more like my home. I think that's basically about me. If you have any questions, maybe it's better to ask them after the assembly when we have some tea. I would like to tell you what I'm going to talk about. So first of all, I'm going to give you it's a little small. Can you read it at the back actually?
Yep.
Okay, good. Little best of the Sunday Assembly Utrecht. Give you a little flavor, picture, and some things we like to do. One of the things we like to do is meditate. We have this 1 minute silence as in every assembly, but we incorporate it into a little meditation. So at the end of this part, I'm going to guide you in meditation. And after that, we'll be speaking about intentional living. I'll give you the why and the what of intentional living, and Tom's going to help you apply this in real life. So first of all, the best of Sunday Assembly Utrecht. Well, so this is Utrecht.
Turn off the lights if it makes it easier.
Oh, yeah, maybe. These are only kind of like photos of atmosphere. So this is kind of Utrecht. I'm not going to talk too long about Utrecht, but it's nice, which makes the assembly also nice. This is a photo of the assembly, and the first thing I encountered when I went to the assembly was a welcoming team, and I really enjoyed that, like just people being welcoming and you feel at home immediately. That's one thing which is sort of a tradition, and I think it's important to welcome new members. I think mainly people come here or they discover about the Sunday Assembly by word of mouth because people are enthused about it. Like me, I took all my friends and they're all now deeply ingrained in the Sunday Assembly. I think one of the key success factors of the Assembly Utrecht is that there is such a tight and dedicated team. They're actually a group of friends who see each other on almost a daily basis, but at least a weekly basis, and that allows them to like get in touch a lot and make things happen. The crowd, yeah, it's kind of I like the crowd, but it's also a little bit boring because everyone is between 25 and 35. There are a lot of indigenous people, which means white people in the Netherlands. Yeah, usually highly educated, university degree in social science or something, or something related to education. That's something that was really interesting to me. Yeah, so about 60 to 100 people, and about 10 to 20% will be new every time. In the beginning, it was a little bit more, obviously. And one thing we always do is we ask people if they're new to raise their hands. So I would like those who are new to raise their hands, please. Oh, nice. Okay, keep them up. And this is going to be a challenge because you seem to be grouped there. But the people who've already been here before, give them a high five. Come on, there are some people there. Whoa, sorry. So, this is kind of the energy which is flowing in Sunday Assembly Utrecht. A lot of people come just because it's fun. And it's an added bonus that there's a lecture and some intellectual challenge.
I think we're gonna steal that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's good to see that there's like so many new people. It means that it's alive. This is Ewout. Ewout is our main host. So we always have two hosts. Ewout used to be a comedian, and that's what he kind of does also at the Assembly Utrecht. And well, it works out rather well because it's fun, but quite often his jokes sort of are met with an awkward silence, and then he's like, oh, well, I thought it was funny when I was back home, and then everybody has to laugh. So he's good at saving jokes. This is Michelle. She's also, she's actually the funniest woman I've ever met. So it's good to have them on stage both. And there's some other people also who do the hosting. I have to. This thing is going to be recorded, so I have to really pay attention to my words, actually. The band. Yeah, the amazing band. So the band is amazing, and in Dutch, amazing means actually to sing along, so it's a really nice band. And in the red dress, you see Lisa, and she's a really good singer, and she always makes it happen. So there are going to be different people in the band every time, but she's always there, and she always makes sure there are people to perform the songs and to practice also. And we have the lyrics on the sheet, and usually Ewout presses the button, but he's kind of disorganized and really happy, like energetic, and then he gets caught up in the song and forgets to press the button, so no one knows the lyrics. But hey, it's fun anyway. Yep. Oh yeah, I got a bad joke lined up for you as well. Yeah, and then everybody goes nuts. And this is Marcel, and he comes up on the stage towards the end when it's time to help often, which is one of the main pillars of the Sunday Assembly. But I have to admit that the help often part is not really as alive as the other parts. And I think that's because in the Netherlands we're kind of like oysters, because oysters don't give to charity. Do you know why? Because they're a little bit shellfish. In my head it was funny. Wow. Good save, Stan. And if you look at the Facebook page of the Sunday Assembly Utrecht, you'll see lots of pictures of cake, because people love to bake cake, and apparently I think it's more important to them than the charity part sometimes. Yeah. So that's something we might want to change, actually. Yeah, and then yeah, other parts of the assembly include the reading. Someone shares a personal experience about the subject, the theme, and then there's going to be a little meditation. And I would like to go to the meditation. So who has meditated before here? Oh, almost everyone. Okay, we're gonna do like I have two options, and we're gonna do the expert option, the challenging one. So yeah, almost. It's maybe for those who have never done a meditation. For me, it's not something magical or connecting to higher spheres or aligning the chakras. For me, it's basically about feeling nice, because it calms my mind, it calms my body. And also it allows me to reflect on what I'm doing and grow as a person. And I think it also improves focus. So that's the reasons for me to do meditation. And I would like to take a couple of minutes to do one with you. I would like a chair. And this is what I call a positive meditation. I was going to do like the classic one, but I think you've already done it, so that's nothing new. So yeah, positive meditation is about seeing things in a brighter light. So I invite you all to close your eyes and get a little bit comfortable. Feel your body. If you're not comfortable, just shift your position slightly so you can sit that way for a couple of minutes without interruption. And we're going to take a deep breath starting in our belly. And another one. And what we're going to do now, or what I'm going to do, is invite you to bring a smile to your face. Because actually, when we are happy, we smile, but the other way around works as well. When we smile, we start to feel happy. And if you're distracted, so focus on the smiling now, and if you're distracted, that's okay, that's normal, it happens. That's the way our mind works. Just gently refocus on smiling. And we can take a thought or something which has happened to us, which was nice. And we can think about this nice thing and smile. And if you're ready to move on to the next thought, you can. It can be something really small, maybe some food you ate which was good, or something you saw which was beautiful, or something bigger. It might feel a little bit awkward at first, but it will get easier to smile. And at your own pace, scan through things you like, which have happened to you, which will happen to you maybe, things you appreciate or are grateful for. And just take a minute to do this. All the while keep smiling. And then finish your last thought. And the next time you breathe in deeply, let go your breathing, exhale without holding anything back. So breathe in. And you can slowly open your eyes if you want. Start moving your fingers, your feet. Get a nice little stretch. And thank yourself for taking care of your mental health. And raise your right arm to do so. And your left arm, and give yourself a high five. All right. That was nice. So I do this, well, this last week I've done it every morning and every evening. And I find that I'm so much more happy during the day, throughout the entire day.
Having lived with Stan the last 3 days, I can confirm this.
Yeah, you just see something random and smile because it's something funny. All right, I hope that was fun. So let's launch into the ideas Tom and I are working on intentional living. And I'm first gonna explain why I think, or we think, this is important. And that is because if you live your life intentionally, you're gonna stop having things happen to you, and you're gonna start making things happen. And you're gonna do the things that you want instead of the things that other people want you to do, or other people expect you to do. And yeah, a lot of people seem to be stuck in a situation. For example, they will have been working the same job for 10 years, long hours, long commute, don't really like the job, boss yelling at them, and then one day they'll wake up and think, why am I here? What happened? How did I get here? And I think it's really worth asking yourself that question a little bit earlier. So a little bit earlier than 10 years, maybe after 1 year or like after 0 years. And then you won't get stuck in places. You won't just do things because you do things or because they happen to you. And yeah, that's why I like intentional living. And so what is it actually? So there is probably tons of definitions, but our definition is this: living your life in alignment with your intentions. So it's about having intentions, but it's also living your intentions. So it's actually 80% action and only 20% intention. You need to think about it a little bit, but you have to do things as well. And another important part of intentional living is knowing and accepting the consequences of your actions. And I think this one is really important now, because we seem to be collectively fucking up this planet and just heading towards a cliff. And some people are aware of it, some aren't. Some people just close their eyes for it. But I think if we all live a little more intentionally, we can stop using so many non-renewable resources. We will cut down eating meat and dairy. We will start having a renewable energy and recycling everything, and we can create a nice place for us to live and for generations to come. So this is also a big one. One way that we approach intentional living is by finding core values. My core values are love, respect, growth, fun, and health or ambition. I'm not sure about those yet, it's still a work in progress, but I'm giving myself some time to work on this, otherwise it's not fun anymore. Why core values? Well, it's not a new thing, but it seems to me that it's very important now. A lot of people, especially of my generation, ask themselves the questions, what do I do with my life? We have so many possibilities because there is education, there's information everywhere, we can go anywhere we want by means of modern transportation. There is, I don't know what I already had, but a lot of possibilities. We just got out of school, my generation, Generation Y, we don't really know what to do after. But I bet that there's actually a lot of people in this room who ask themselves the same question, like what to do with my life, or how to live my life. It's not something which is only for my generation. And in order to, maybe, does anyone have this question at this moment? Please raise your hand if you do. Like what to do with my life, or how to live my life? Yeah, there are several people. And in order to answer that question, you have to answer the question, or the questions underneath it, which is, what decision do I make? And in order to answer that question, you have to answer the question, what is important? And that is, what do I value? So actually, finding your core values will help you answer this question, how to live my life, what to do with my life. Yeah, that's it for me. This was the theoretical part, and you might be wondering, how do I do this in real life? So I'm glad that the Savior is here. Tom, please come. He's gonna help you apply this thing in real life.
Awesome, thank you, Stan. Hi guys, I'm Tom. I actually don't know what's coming up on those slides yet because Stan put it together. We're about to find out. I gave him some idea of what to do. So, practicing intentional living. I'd like to give you guys an idea of like an example from my life where I started to live more intentionally. So I did an activity called Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. And through doing that activity, I realized that 2 areas of my life that I really wanted to focus on were career and physical fitness. At that point, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was feeling quite lost, and I'd had it in the back of my mind for years, and it was just like, yeah, it was something in the back of the mind that was hindering me, but I was never actually taking action on. So I started thinking about it twice a day, every day. And by focusing my attention on that regularly, I now know what I want to do, where I'm going, and I'm confident in it. So just by bringing that intention into my life, it makes a difference. Also, I decided I wanted to take more action on my physical health. So what I did is I took action straight away, and I think that that is the key to, like, straight away take action. And I looked at different diet plans and different exercise plans, and I went to the shop, I got new food, I started doing exercise that day, and I made changes in my life straight away. So a simple activity can... That's not what I wanted, but it's there. So a simple activity can make a huge difference to your life. So I'd like to do that with you guys now. This is, we don't have time to work out our own values, so what I've done is I've put together a list of very common values that you can look at, and I'd like to give you a minute to choose one that you would like to bring into your life more. So has anyone not chosen one yet? No? Awesome. We've all got one. This thing is not working.
It is not.
So what I want you to do is, you've chosen one, and now I want you to think about what you're doing for the rest of the day today. It's a Sunday, so you'll probably have fairly open plans on what you're doing. But what is it that you're doing today? And then I want you to think of what actions you could take today to bring that value into your life. Like, say, comfort. It's a Sunday and it's rainy. That's easy. Health. Maybe you could like prepare a better meal for yourself today. You could start doing some exercises. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to think about what you could do, and try and get excited about it, like what you can do today. Has anyone not thought about something? And are you comfortable with what you've thought of? Because what I'd like you to do now is to share it with someone in the room. Because this will make you reliable to someone else as well. This will make you more likely to take action on it. So just find someone in the room and just tell them what what value you chose and how you would like to bring that into your life today. Go for it. I encourage you to share like what you want to do with someone else afterwards as well, but we're pretty much out of time. Stan and I would like to hold a workshop. Oh. Ta-da! We'd like to do this tomorrow afternoon. The workshop would be finding out your core values to live a more intentional life. We're not sure what people's availability is like, so we'd like to get expressions of interest. If you could write down on the sheet of paper here your contact information and just write W for workshop beside it if you are interested, and if you want to make this happen, we can contact you with information on where and when.
Any feedback is welcome after the assembly on the presentation and whatever.
Cool. Well, thanks again to those two. That was fantastic talk and interesting stuff. Yeah, I like the meditation. People say most people are just quite closing their eyes, trying not to think sometimes, but it's good to get a practical demonstration.
I just wanted to give a big thanks to Sam for staying to give the talk today. He was actually supposed to be flying out yesterday, but he decided to rebook his flights so that he could stay a bit longer and give the speech to us. So that was really awesome. And also, one of the things that we usually do a reading here, and we usually do the reading, but Stan was telling me about the way that they do things in Utrecht. Did I pronounce that right? I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Utrecht?
It's understandable.
Can I just say Istanbul, because that's... Okay, Utrecht. So one of the things they do in Utrecht is that they try and get people to give a, sort of say something from their own life experience. So we wanted to try and sort of tie that back to your intentional living sort of topic. So I've actually asked John to answer a very difficult question that I only told him this morning at something like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sure you've been pondering this, but basically the question that we asked him was, what's the most significant life decision that you've made? And maybe you could tell us, spend a couple of minutes just telling us about that and sort of how it maybe changed your life.
Yes. Well, because I'm a bit older than most of the people in the room, when I was a student in the UK back in the 1970s, I had a great privilege that I didn't generate a huge student debt. So when I graduated at the age of 21, I really was in that situation that I was free to follow my intentions and do what I really wanted to do. And I was quite concerned about the state of the world even back then. And so I made a decision to sign up for an organisation called Voluntary Service Overseas, which is the same as the New Zealand VSA. And I applied to that organisation, and they could send me anywhere in the world to do anything, if I was selected. And luckily, they decided to give me an opportunity to go and teach at a secondary school in northern Nigeria, in a Muslim village. I shared a house with a Scottish guy, but the two of us were the only Europeans for 100 kilometres in any direction. So I was immersed in an small Islamic village at the age of 21, and I'd never really been outside of Europe prior to that. And that probably has had the biggest influence on my life and the way I see the world, and many subsequent decisions about employment and about what I've done and where I've been, which I'm happy to talk to any of you about, and I won't go into all those details. But the very interesting thing was, during 2 years living a very simple but very interesting life, I learned that it's not really about material stuff. That's not really what makes you happy in things, because you know, we only had electricity 6 hours a day, and water was sort of delivered on a very ad hoc basis, and you know, you'd only get the food that you could buy in the local market. It was a very, very simple kind of lifestyle, and yet I didn't feel deprived. I felt just as happy there as I would have, you know, in a much wealthier environment. And I learned a huge amount about Africa, about village life, about Islam, but the thing that I learned most about was about my own society, my own culture, and myself really, because I was given the opportunity to step right outside it and look back. And I think that has given me sort of perspectives on things that, you know, have really helped me throughout my life.
Well, thank you, John.
Yeah.